Yo, what's up? Thanks for coming back. So here's the project. Today I'm actually going to be trying to figure out, the motor's pretty close to where I like it, but these are the mounting points for the block, these 4 mounting points, and I need to make some plates for those. So that's sort of what I'll tackle today, try to make some cheap and ghetto plates. So I don't know if you've ever seen this process, but this is what I like to do. Put spacing and stuff. Try to hold this up where it is. It helps if you have dirty fingers. So something like that. Just push the paper up against it, rub your finger along the edge of the bolt holes, and there you go. Quick, dirty, simple way to get bolt holes for a flange. Yo, what's up? So I was waiting on an order for a little bit. Friday, I finally got what I was waiting on. It's literally the first order I found on Amazon for kind of what I was looking for, some sort of polyurethane bushing with a sleeve, or with the actual mounting point, and then a sleeve for the inside so a bolt can go through and we can have some sort of dampening for the engine mount. But I didn't realize, but I should have for the price. These are all 5/8, so some pretty heavy duty stuff. It's from Barnes 4x4, I think, or something like that. So, yep, a little overkill. Should have known for the price. I was hoping it was like 1/2 inch, which should be plenty, but it'll just be a little overkill. So I had to go get some hardware for that. All 5/8 heavy stuff. Grade 8. It's $18 in hardware. $18.40 at Ace Hardware. So, but now we got all that stuff. So now we can actually continue it from where we were. I got the plates all made for the side of the engine on that side and on this side. The engine is very close to where I like it. Maybe just down like 1/2 inch or so, and then back maybe another 1/2 inch. It's kind of where we're gonna probably fine tune the fitment while we get the mounts made. But I'm gonna jump on building those mounts. All right, well, I didn't film myself installing them, but here we go. One mount, TIG welded, front and back. I kind of decided to let's just use all the tricks we can. Try to cut everything and do everything kind of generically, just cheap with the angle grinder to kind of make it relatable, but we'll still TIG weld stuff. So. Here are the mounts, polyurethane bushings. They're both in a really similar location, as you can see. Right. But yeah, so now we're just gonna have to kick a tube between the subframe down here and this piece right here. So we're just gonna run a tube. I don't know if we're gonna go straight or if I wanna do a crossbar and then up from the crossbar so it just lands down onto it. It keeps everything out of the way because you can see exhaust ports right there, frame rails right there. Space is filling up pretty quick. I already got the steering rack kind of thrown in there. Probably gonna have to notch out a channel for it. But yeah, still trying to figure out the best plan of action for a couple pieces. But this one has to go around this whole steering piece. This is actually gonna be further over. So that's gonna be a little bit tight on that side. But here we are so far. Hope I can get this engine 100% located this weekend. It'll be kind of cool. So, see if we can run a crossbar between the pan. We might kick the rack over just a little bit that way. So we'll just move it over just a little bit. We may run a tube right behind it, between the sump and the pan, because I do actually want to kick the motor back a little bit also. So then at that point, if this comes forward about an inch and that moves back about 3/4 of an inch, we should be able to run a tube straight across, and then we can come off that tube straight up to the mounts, and maybe at a gusset angle too or something. We'll have to see, because that one maybe over the steering shaft we'll do a gusset tube, and that one under, or this one doesn't even matter, so we could just probably do straight tube. There we go, little by little. Now that we got the cross member in place, everything's all situated, you got everything all final welded all the way around, tops and bottoms all the way. to go now. So now that we got that in, we can start messing with the engine mounts, because I'm probably going to build the engine mounts off of that cross member. So get that in there, start messing with the motor, and then we can build from that cross member to those right there. So give them a little bit of air gap in there, so when it's not fully tightened, you can slide in and out pretty easily, you know, whenever you.
Back, and we shall show you the progress on the cheap car race challenge. This is what we currently have. We're just gonna mount the engine. We're gonna mount the engine mounts, and
Can you show the progress so far?
this is,
And then I can start welding them.
our progress. This, you put a new engine in. You've got the 2-ton thing. Engine hoist.
Get the engine set at 3 degrees, right?
Yeah, it's at 3 degrees. You can't really tell through the thing.
It's turned off right now.
It's turned off.
Why it died.
And look, it shall show you.
It might not be. So you got to readjust it sometimes.
Yeah, you gotta readjust it.
Set it at 0.
And now
Where's it at?
it is at 264. 264. It's weird. Well, it was just at 290.
So we can adjust the pin man board with this jack here. Set it.
And we're right at 30.8.
0.09.
Yeah, we're 0.9.
3.1 degrees.
3.1.
There you go.
You've seen enough for that.
303.
And my dad's about to start welding. Dad, can you grab me my helmet? This is my sick helmet. It's got the coal, the fire. That's my dad's helmet. Who used my helmet?
Luis.
Luis?
Jose.
Jose.
A little big, just a little large in your head. You just set it down. Is it still recording?
Yeah.
Can you stop it while we're not doing anything? I just got back from Albuquerque actually yesterday. I didn't get a chance to get back into the shop. But I do have to give a huge shout out to my buddy Mike Sherbring out of Albuquerque. Always help him out with stuff. So he ended up redoing my hubs here. So he pressed out all my old studs, re-drilled them to the right bolt pattern that I needed, 5 by 4.5, and then he also re-drilled my hats. And as you can see, the bolt patterns ran into each other, but Mike's a man. So anytime you have a little project, he comes in handy for anything for the most part. Old school drag racer, super fucking awesome guy. Could literally build anything from scratch. He had to open up the bore to clear the center hub bore. And he's like, oh yeah, I gotta re-drill that. And he's like, oh, you know, the hub bore is too small. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. He's like, yeah, no problem, get that done. Like, seriously, it took him no time at all. 2 days, had these turned back around for me. Just for the hats alone from TBM were $300. I got these modified, both hats and bearings by Mike for $200 or $220 total. It's like not bad at all. Now I just need to take the outers, this outer end off, undo this, and take this outer piece off, and we'll put this through, tighten it up, and then that'll hold the front wheel bearings together. And then we could actually get them on the car. Well, I guess we can get the hubs and rotors on, and then we can get those ends, the outers, torqued up on there, so then they stay together. are. As far as Tuesday, it's about, we brought it here last Saturday, so it's been Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's like a week and 3 days roughly, so 10 days. And here we are with the car. Current progress that we're at right now. We got the TBM brakes all mounted up. I didn't have the actual shims that you're supposed to have for the back of the caliper. I found some washers that actually worked. They're not perfect, so I am gonna order a shim pack. It's gonna be like $10 per pack. I'd probably need 2 packs just to get it perfect, left to right. But we got the new hubs on, and we got the rotor hats all re-drilled. So now we could fit these wheels on. I had these 18s. They're 5x4.5, and they're kind of the coolest looking wheel that I had. They're cheap XXRs, but they've been sitting around for a while, and I only had 2. So I was like, this is gonna have different offset staggered wheels front to rear anyway. So a large wheel up front, and then like a 15 or something in the rear is what I'm planning on. So I thought you'd have a lot of room to be able to see the TBMs. I thought it looked pretty cool. I'm actually not too bad on how it turned out. But we got the motor all hung in there too, off of the new support bar that I welded in there. So I got that in. I added a couple standoffs for that, and I welded that to the little rod ends, the bushing ends or whatever, and then we put bushings, and there's polyurethane bushings and sleeves in there now, so it actually supports it pretty well. It's right at 3 degrees, but I was like, it's pretty tight for just having the motor mounts, and it's still gonna probably have some mid-plate mounts, because the adapter plate will actually have has a couple ears to make a mid-plate mounts, so I'll probably end up using those to tie in also. And then we're gonna have a transmission cross member when I get the adapter plate and the power glide. I can mock it up and we can get that all situated. But as you can tell, it's a VK56. I've been hearing a lot of great things about these things. I'm not sure if I want to keep it stock bottom end right now. There's guys making like over 800-ish on the stock bottom end, but also they grenaded it at that power level. Or if I just want to do pistons and rods right away. I do have a Turn 14 account, so I could do like they have Manly parts, so they have the Manly I-beam rods, which are like the gangster rods for these, for a pretty good price. I get like 20% off or something like that per rod. I might do that, and then a set of pistons. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what we want to do. I still got to modify the rear end housing. We do actually have all the 4-link bars and brackets and stuff all finally showed up, so we could start messing with that. I really was just trying to get the front suspension all dialed and the motor kind of set in place. I still got to figure out what we want to do with the cradle situation, because I may have to tie this subframe back into the frame, this part of the frame rail somewhere, so I might just do a bar that kind of comes from here up on both sides, and then maybe section out the front of this, because we really don't need any of this at this point, because this is only at this point just holding the radiator up, and I could make my own one of those anyways. So I'm kind of thinking about sectioning out this whole front area, the subframe, and actually with the whole these 2 horns on the actual frame as well. I might just cut all that out of the way to get that, give us more room up front to be able to do what we need to do. But yeah, I just dropped the rear onto some wooden blocks just to try to get it down low. I'm probably going to have the rear a little bit lower than the front. Just with the 4-link stuff, we can get the ass on pretty low on this thing. One thing I did realize when I got these dual adjustable shocks set up from Strange, they are, I did have them valved for the super heavy spring rates that I was set up for the front wheel drive stuff. And yeah, we may have to revalve those, because I jacked this thing up. It has a bunch of front travel, but it takes forever for them to drop, because the valving is pretty heavy duty. They called it their Pro Mod valving. Now I see why, because it is super tight, even on full loose on the rebound. It's seriously like, it is pretty slow, you know, so yeah, so I got to figure that out. So, but other than that, I was like, it'll probably work for now. I don't know if I'm gonna send them off to Strange to get them revalved. This is a budget situation, so I've already had to do a lot more than I anticipated with having to, well, I kind of did anticipate this stuff, but if I do have to section out this whole front and all that other stuff, like it ends up being a lot, you know, to where I'm not sure if we should try to go that route or if we should try to keep as much in place as possible. You know, I still need to get to the interior and the floor section on this thing. We gotta get this all addressed, so I'm gonna have to cut probably most of this whole section out of here. This whole section, potentially majority of this, to be able to get a crossbar in there. It has to be 21 inches. The bars I think that we have are 21 inches, so it's going to be the 4-link brackets are going to be in here somewhere, and then tie back. We have 21 inches to the axle. I don't know if that's axle center line or mounting point, but we got to figure that out, and then we could start messing with all that stuff. I do have to clean out the rest of this junk, and still got to pull the dash. I've been procrastinating on that, but we'll get to that. But at this point, we got the VK hung in there. It's starting to look like something. VK does take a majority of the engine bay room, but really not too bad with like the factory everything. Like it still fits the factory rain tray and stuff. I was thinking of notching this out of the way. If we may have to clear like an intake manifold, but I was thinking about kind of notching it out of the way to kind of give us access to be able to get back to the mid-plate stuff and bell housing bolts and all that stuff. Because if you cut all this back, you have back to here then, you know, if you remove all that, windshield wiper tray and all that stuff. So potentially thinking about that. I do have to do a booster delete. Booster had to come out of the way to get everything back as far as we needed everything. But yeah, the slave cylinder for the clutch is right here. Boosters in this area, I'm thinking of maybe potentially moving the pedals over and then doing the booster delete with like a Willwood Master or something over here somewhere. But yeah, we got to do that too. There's a couple little things, but I got the coilovers all set up. I just put them at a 0 point on the camber plates. The camber doesn't look too bad for now. Still a bunch more stuff to tackle on this, but trying to jam on as much as I can and as fast as I can, so while I have time. This is the update for this week so far. I think this next week we're going to be tearing this rear axle apart, cleaning it all up. After I get back from the 4th of July, we're going out of town, so then I can prep all this, get all this cleaned up, and start figuring out how we're going to do the back half stuff. So we got the front suspension majority of the way. We still need to get a steering rack in here. As you can see, I turned the knuckles left to right, so now we have the tie rod outer on the front over here. Normally it was in the back, but you can see the CV cup in there, everything. But yeah, so now we can put the steering rack in front is kind of my thought. So down over under here, following this rod. So we'll end up making some mounts off of this crossbar, and then we can actually make the subframe or the steering rack go through there. But we are probably going to have to section out this part of the frame, this subframe right in here. So where that goes, it's gonna kind of run through that up to here. I'm gonna probably, I don't know if I'm gonna tie, yeah, I'll probably gusset everything, but I'll tie in from up here down to there, cut off the rest of this, section out this whole front. It's kind of my thought. And then we should have a lot more room for activities too. I really wanted to get it on the ground too, to be able to see ground clearance with the pan. That's right now where we're at. It's not horrible, but that is this whole lowest sump area. A lot of people actually do delete this, you know, so they actually just do like a flat plate They do sell one. I'll probably just make my own. So it's just like a flat one, and then the pickup, instead of it dropping down to the bottom, it's just a super short little pickup. So we might do that also, just to kind of give us a little more ground clearance. These shocks are pretty long, so in the front it's going to be a little taller, but that should give us help us out just a little bit, just so we can, if we want, we can get this thing down just a little bit lower. It's nice to get this thing pretty low, front and rear. But here we are. Thanks for checking in. Just wanted to kind of jump on the front stuff for the most part, and then yeah, little by little we'll try to knock some stuff out. I got to start messing with the back half is probably the next update we're gonna get, and start messing with cage stuff. I don't know how much of a cage we're gonna do. I don't know how much tubing I have necessarily. A lot of it was for this car. I don't know how, well, 2 sticks. I have 2 full sticks of chromoly that was not for this car. So I do have extras that I could use for this, but that is also material I could use for clients and stuff. So we'll see what we want to do. But this car's been fun to work on, so we might just end up using it. So we'll just have to see. But thanks for checking in. You guys have a good 4th of July now. Later.